Welcome to today's class. Today I'm going to talk about facility layout. As you all know, in every organization that exists today, there is what is called a facility. And this facility basically allows the organization to work effectively. So what makes the organization work effectively is the layout. When we talk about layout, when you start a new business, for example, what you need to consider is the layout of that business. Let's say you've started a supermarket today. You must ensure everything that happens in that supermarket is well placed, and every priority in that supermarket basically is taken care of. So what happens when you're doing layout? Sometimes you need to check your facilities, how they are located in your organization. This allows you to ensure what is called production flow. Basically, when we talk about production flow, those machines within the organization sometimes will enable the layout will enable you to ensure that all the machines have their capacity, the maximization of those capacity are taken care of. And one of the things that you must ensure is the flow of materials when they come into the organization. So facility layout allows you to be able to know what you really need in terms of the flow of materials. The other thing that is very important that you need to understand is the direction of employees. How are the employees going to move when they are in a particular facility? Examples, the KIPS college, for example. What happens when they are designing a new college? They must ensure where the offices are going to be, where the library is going to be, and what have you. So it's always important for an organization to take into consideration that. So by definition, what is the plant layout by definition? According to various authors, they came up with a unique definition of plant layout. And one of the definition by Astapa was that a plant layout is an arrangement of machines, equipment, and other industrial facilities such as receiving, shipping department, tools, rooms, and maintenance rooms, and employees' amenities for purposes of achieving the quickest, smoothest production at the least cost. So what you need to understand therefore in the definition is that when we talk about plant layout, the key thing there is the arrangement of the machines within that organization. And one of the focus of arrangement of machines is to ensure we have smooth production. And when we talk about smooth production, therefore, it will go to the customer. For example, if the customer comes and realizes everything is okay, then the customer will always come again and again. And one of the other objectives of plant layout is to ensure you get the least cost. Remember, every organization wants to achieve reduction of costs. And one of the ways to reduce the cost is to ensure we have effective plant layout. According to Kumar, he also defined plant layout as the physical arrangement of production facilities. So production in any organization happens on a daily basis. So Kumar took a keen interest on ensuring the arrangement of the physical facilities within an organization. Therefore, plant layout is all about the arrangement of the production facility. The other thing or definition by Moore, he said that plant layout is the optimum arrangement of facilities including personnel, operating equipment, storage space, material handling and equipment, and other supporting services. So as you can see all these three definitions, there are keywords there. The first keyword is the arrangement. What are you arranging? You are arranging the various facilities. And any organization that happens, or any organization that is in operation, it must have those facilities in place. And to ensure smooth flow of the facilities, what happens? It must ensure the arrangement is taken care of. So what is the concept of plant layout? Plant layout basically is a subject that covers the initial layout of machines and other facilities, but that is not limited to that arrangement. What limits? So it's not only limited to the initial layout of machines. What happens? It also encompasses the improvements of revision of existing layouts in the light of subsequent development in the method of procurement. So basically, when you're coming up with a plant layout, you must also consider your procurement. And we said procurement is all about acquisition of goods, works, and services. So in simple terms, plant layout basically is the flow that determines the arrangement of the desired machinery and equipment of plant, whether established or contemplated in the best place to permit the quickest flow of material. So I want you to note the keywords that we are talking about. The efficient flow of materials. So that one. So the other thing I'm going to talk about today is the objective of a good layout. As you all know, we said a layout is all about the arrangement of facilities within an organization. And this arrangement allows the organization to be able to ensure the flow of materials within and outside the organization. So one of the objectives of layout is that it provides enough production capacity. When we talk about capacity, capacity is the amount that you want to produce within that organization. So therefore, when the layout is good, then it means the capacity will be very high. The other thing is about reduction of material handling cost. Remember, when you are handling materials, sometimes it becomes very costly. If the layout is not good enough, then it means at the end of the day, you'll have issues to do with breakages of materials. And this will allow you to ensure you reduce the handling cost in an organization. The other thing about layout is that it allows reduction of congestion that might impede the movement of people and materials. So a good layout allows you to be able to reduce that movement of people and materials. And when you reduce that movement, then it means we will have reduction in accidents within the organization. The other thing is that it reduces hazard to personnel. So basically, when you have a good layout and you've really mapped your organization well, reduction of hazards in personnel will be very effective. The other thing is about utilization of labor efficiency. Remember, in any facility, we have people who are working in that facility. So when the layout is good enough, then it utilizes the labor force within the organization. It also increases the morale of employees. Morale in this sense is the people working in that facility. When the facility is good, then it means organization and the employees in that organization will have the morale that it takes. The other one is reduction of accidents that we've talked about. There are a few cases of accidents within the organization. The other thing is it provides is supervision. So when the layout is good, then even the supervisors who are supervising the work within the organization becomes easier because they're able to locate the various employees working within that organization and the various issues in that organization. The other thing is improved productivity, and we've talked about productivity. What are some of the factors that you need to check when you are choosing a layout facility? So we have very many factors that you need to consider while choosing a facility, and this will affect the relationship that is within that organization. Basically, the relationship between materials, machinery, and men who are working in that facility. So one of the factors or the things that you need to consider when you are coming up with a layout is the material. And these materials can either be raw materials or storage materials that are waiting for production or finished goods. So it's very important for you when you're choosing a facility layout, you need to check on the materials that you are going to store in that layout. The other thing that you need to check is the product that you are going to store in that layout. And in this sense, when you talk about products, what we mean is that, is the product heavy? Is the product light? Is the product big or small? Or it's the product liquid or solid? So your facility layout will be dependent on the product. The other thing is the workers, the employees who are in that organization. So it's always important, before you can come up with a layout, you also need to consider the labor force, the people who are working in that organization. You must provide for them these things like washrooms and what have you, changing rooms. It's very important. The other thing is the machinery. Some of the machines you are going to install in that organization will be dependent on the facility layout. For example, if you wanted to come up with a warehouse, for example, you need to consider machines like forklifts, machines like trolleys, and the space basically is very key in that. The other thing is the type of industry. What activity are you going to do? Which method of production process you are going to take? So it's very important for you to consider the type of industry you are in. The other important thing is the location. Where are you going to locate your business? Is it in town center
or is it in up country? So it's always important for you to check on the location of your facility. And lastly, you also need to check the managerial policy, the policy within the organization. What policy guides you when you're coming up with a facility? Some other factors might include the government policies and what have you. So you need also to comply with the government regulation when it comes to issues to do with facility layout. So what are some of the principles? The principles. So when you're coming up with a layout, it is very important for you to check on the principles of layout. The principles are the ones that guide what you are going to do when you're coming up with that layout. So the first principle is the principle of minimum travel. So when you're coming up with a layout, it is always important for you to ensure minimum travel, so that the people who are working in that facility are not supposed to travel more and more. They are supposed to shorten the distance, and that is very important. The people also need to minimize the cost of material handling. So you can install things like conveyor belts, you can install things like lifts and what have you. The other one is the principle of sequence. So machines basically are supposed to be arranged in a particular sequence, and that will enable you to achieve what is called the product layout, and this will be the best for your organization. The other one is the principle of usage. So basically what happens, you're supposed to come up with a layout that allows you to utilize the available space, and this will be basically in towns where space is so limited. Therefore, you are supposed to maximize on that space. But when the space is too much, then it means you are good to go. The other principle is the principle of safety. Safety is very important. You need to consider safety of your employees, the safety of the machines that are there. So basically the principle of safety and satisfaction is very key. So those people who are working in your organization are supposed to be motivated. And once you motivate them, then it means you must ensure safety of your employees. And your employees must be comfortable. And once they are comfortable, they will be satisfied. The other one is the principle of flexibility. Remember, the business is changing. And because business is changing, your principle must also be flexible. In the event you want to expand your store or your facility, is there room to do that? So that principle is very important. The other principle is the principle of minimum investment. So remember, you're in business and you want to maximize. So when you are doing business, you want to get your return on investment. So your investments must be very minimum. And this investment will allow you to save. And once you save, then it means you will be getting profits at the end of the day, and the facility will be used effectively. Thank you for listening. Let's meet next time.